This meeting of the Littleton Licensing Authority will come to order. The city clerk, please call the roll.
Authority Chair Bradish.
Here.
Vice Chair Cole.
Here.
Authority Member Buchanan.
Here.
Authority Member Lavier.
Here.
Authority Member Mather. Authority Member Schock.
Here.
Authority Member Webb.
Here.
We do have a roll call, so we'll proceed with approval of this agenda. Do I hear a motion to that effect?
I'll move that we approve the agenda.
I will second.
Motion and second to approve the agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Next item, certification of the October 14th minute meetings.
I move to approve based on the clerk's certification, the October 14th videos, the minutes for the October 14th, 2015 regular session of the Littleton Licensing Authority.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next item of business is item 4A. We're to discuss scheduling a renewal hearing for Faux Real LLC, doing business as Faux Real, 2399 West Main Street, Littleton, Colorado. We have some attachments. Are there any other attachments besides the application?
Not at this time.
I'll move that we enter exhibits A and C. Is there no B? Okay, so I'll move that we enter exhibits A and C.
second the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
For the attorney?
So this is we placed this on the agenda. The purpose of the action tonight is to determine whether or not to schedule Faux Real for a renewal hearing. We provided you with their renewal application, and of concern to the city attorney was question number 3, where the applicant indicated that they had been convicted of a crime since the date of filing the last annual application. And I think attached to that, they're also required to provide a detailed explanation, which the applicant did. This falls under concern with the, hold on, sorry, I'm looking. Whether or not, so when you look at an application, a renewal application, whether or not the applicant or licensee has a criminal history of crimes of moral turpitude, because this crime involves a illegal drug or narcotic conviction, that is listed in the liquor code as an example of a crime of moral turpitude. So staff recommends that you schedule it for a renewal hearing, have the applicant come in and advise the authority of the conviction and the circumstances surrounding that.
Madam City Attorney, is this it's hard to tell from this explanation, is this a felony, and if so, what class, or misdemeanor?
Look at it, it is a felony. Maybe I don't have it.
It doesn't really say whether he was convicted or
Well, he
pled
probably
guilty.
took a plea, correct, to a lower?
He admits taking a plea.
Hold on just a second.
Well, I don't see any way that we're not going to, that we're not going to request that they come in and show cause why we should renew their license. Anyone else have an opinion on that?
I agree totally. I think he should come in.
I'll make the motion that we schedule a renewal hearing for Fa Real LLC, DBA Fa Real, 2399 West Main Street in Littleton, Colorado, at the next available authority hearing session,
That would be at the February 10th.
effective February 10th.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Would you poll the authority, please?
Chairman Bradish?
Yes.
Vice Chair Cole?
Yes.
Authority Member Lavier?
Yes.
Authority Member Schock?
I'm second alternate. I will abstain.
Sorry, Authority Member Buchanan?
Yes.
Authority Member Webb?
Yes.
Motion is carried. We have an agenda item for next month's meeting. Next item of business, 5A, resolution to approve a liquor license application for Columbine Country Club Incorporated, doing business as Columbine on Main, 2299 West Main Street, Littleton, Colorado.
I'll move that we enter Exhibits A through F.
I will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Max? Or Michael?
Evening. I'm
Good
Michael
evening, sir.
Bratcher from Columbine Country Club.
I'm sorry, I missed that. Could you say your name again?
I'm Michael Bratcher. I'm the general manager of the club.
If you have a presentation you'd like to make, oh, I need to swear you in, thank you. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give before this authority is truthful?
I do.
Thank you.
Does that apply to me? Save you one more.
Let's hear your I do.
Pardon me?
Let's hear your I do.
I do.
Thank you.
So thank you for the time. I'm here on behalf of the club. We would like to open a private restaurant establishment on Main Street, 2299 West Main. For our members, we are undergoing a massive reconstruction of the main clubhouse, just a mile or so away. And we'll be outside of, that clubhouse is closed. It will be closed until the summer of 2017. So we have entered into a lease for that space on Main Street for the next 2 years with an option to continue. And we're in the process of renovating the space now. I have a couple of documents here if you'd like to see just some samples and basic facts on the space. But we would like to open a member-only restaurant there 4 nights a week, 5 nights a week, beginning probably March 1, and lunch service, dinner service. That is what we'd like to do. So we'd like permission to sell alcoholic beverages in that facility.
Is this members only? Is that what I heard?
It
you
is.
say?
It's members and their guests, yes.
What are your hours of operation?
So our opening plan is to operate the club Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, 4 days a week, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. For lunch service. We'll take a break at that point, have another 5-hour shift from 5 to 10 p.m. With a limited, with a fine dining menu for the members.
There's a diagram of the restaurant, and it looks pretty small.
It is, yes.
You've got enough members that they couldn't all fit in here at one time, it looks like to me. Is that going to be a problem?
No, it's not really meant to support the clubhouse demand in that time period. It's really more just, and our members love coming to downtown Littleton. They're here all the time anyway. The vast majority live within 3 miles of the club. And it's just another opportunity. I see this establishment working even when the clubhouse is open. The clubhouse can serve several hundred. But you're right, it's got about 50 people inside, 50 people outside. And small functions, gatherings, that could be a member private function if they wanted to have some, a wine dinner, things like that. So it's really just to supplement their use of the main clubhouse indefinitely.
So you won't be able to accommodate the service clubs and the other groups that now use your club for their meetings?
That's correct, not in this space.
Okay.
Looking at the map, you've excluded the men's and women's restrooms from the licensed premises. So if a patron carries or a member carries liquor in there, technically you'd be in violation. So you will ensure that people aren't carrying beverages in there. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Also, with the map,
That license the whole building.
the patio is not connected from within other than through a pass-through window. This is the old Delizio's Wine and Whiskey Bar.
That's true. There's a garage door providing access to the entire wall. The whole door retracts.
The whole door retracts.
There's a covered patio outside, and there's a small exposed patio between the front entrance and that covered patio. And there are 3 tables there, and there is another garage door there as well,
Okay.
which would be a pass-through window.
Mr. Bratcher, in your current location at Columbine Country Club, do you hold a liquor license issued by the town of Columbine Valley?
We do.
Okay, can you tell me the history of violations, if any, associated with the country club over the past 10 years?
I've been at the club for the last 12 months. I'm not aware of any violations.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, I have, for the record, another exhibit. This is a story from the Business Den newsletter that I've shared with the other members of the authority, so I think we ought to enter it as an exhibit as well.
You want to call that exhibit?
It'd be Exhibit G.
Okay, I'll just mark it G.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So you said the lease is for 2 years with an option to renew, and you said you would be open to continue to operate after your main clubhouse is renovated. Would it continue to be members only?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
This is a 2-year proposition for you, as I understood from reading the
Expensive
lease.
two-year proposition, a substantial, upgrade to the facility to bring it to the level we need to serve food in there. But we have a 3-year option. I think that will continue. I think the members will enjoy coming down for an off-site venue. It's not really been done before. There's not a lot of private clubs that have done this. I'm only aware of one that's attempted it. And I think it'll be a place for members to have their own private functions. So we rent out space constantly for birthday parties for members, and so it'll be a fixed menu for that group. Because it is such an intimate space, it's a really good outlet for that. I hope is how it develops, because the capital investment for 2 years doesn't really make a lot of sense without pursuing that.
Has there been any surveying or opinion taking among the members to see who would be interested in using this?
They are ecstatic. They love the idea. It came across pretty quickly. We're looking for some alternatives to provide some service through the winter months, especially without going into a tent or a temporary facility. When we found this option, we pursued it quickly. And the members, we have focus groups and town hall meetings with our members on a regular basis as we've been going through this $20 million proposal for them. And this is part of our temporary solution, but they share my enthusiasm for using it long term.
How will you ensure that people who come here are indeed members?
So that's a good question. We're looking at, having a place on Main Street. It is a good location, being between Sycamore and the RTD. And so it's not a lot of traffic going to other restaurants, but we will have signage on the front stating that's for members only. And then, of course, our staff are there to greet everyone. We greet everyone by name and memberships. We have a computerized record of all the members. And to access it, they would have to identify themselves and be checked in through our managers.
Have you made provisions for golf cart parking?
We have not. I understand it is possible to get across, but right now we haven't done that now.
When you say members only, that includes members' families,
They're accompanied guests, correct.
including underage members of the family, who obviously are not going to be allowed to be served alcohol in the establishment.
Yes.
How will you control that?
Yeah, so we do that now. We're going to control that largely with the price point. We're a family club, so we embrace women and children as part of the membership. This space, typically our members in the family dining space, children under the age of 18 are permitted into what we call the pub Friday and Saturdays. So we're debating whether we should continue that in this space. But right now we're imagining lunch service. Kids will be welcome. It won't be a children's menu, and it will be expensive. It's going to be a premium, high-priced offering. So I don't anticipate we'll have a lot of demand for that. But then we do, of course, have them all on record. We have all their ages and membership levels, because we constantly have to monitor how much they spend. It goes towards the credit, how often they use the club. We track all of those sorts of things.
Do your staff and management, at the club, do you go through tips training, and will they go through tips training for this location?
We'll probably actually we've engaged the services from Oedipus to help with the necessary work it's a local community, and they also provide that service. So we're thinking mid-February we'll have them come by and spend a day with the staff. My current staff have gone through tips training, but frankly, it's a better deal with Oedipus, so we'll pursue that.
How many employees will you have?
We'll probably have 16 to 20 in the space, rotating through. This is really it's a very small, part of the club, so it will be really our elite crew, our best kitchen staff and our top servers, a couple of back servers. So it's really split, front of the house, back of the house, 4 cooks on the line, and 4 servers, supervisors. So.
I noticed on the diagram, there's a comment written underneath that said everything licensed except the restrooms. What does that mean?
Yeah, I'm not certain why we did not include that in the request, why the restrooms would be excluded. Not certain about that,
So
actually.
it doesn't really mean anything?
No, not to me, it doesn't.
We can certainly change that to include them.
Include the restrooms in the license?
Well, the whole square footage, just to be safe.
Yeah, it makes it more complicated
It
to
does
not,
make more
to not
sense.
include it, so.
I thought it was somebody's attempt at humor, but
I see your liquor storage here. Is that a locked area?
It is locked, yes. Although we will use our main clubhouse facility for our backstock, we expect to use the interior store. There's limited storage in that space, so it's a common theme of a problem. We're removing the sheds and things like that they've had refrigerators in the alley. We're not using any of those types. We have a refrigeration unit, on our main property. If we need to store our white wines, things like that, we'll do our backstock on property. I have some samples of the menus if you'd like to see, so our hours of operations, our staffing, things like that, if I may.
City Attorney, is there any requirement to store the liquor that you buy at wholesale on the premises, or you can store that anywhere you have storage?
I think so, but I'm looking at Colleen too. Let me look really quick while, and I'll get back to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd be interested in hearing about your survey, unless the other members have any other questions on the application.
Absolutely. If I may bring up Mr. Scott to present.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If I may be of assistance on the storage.
Go ahead, Max.
Pardon me?
Go ahead.
It has to be stored on premises unless they get a warehouse permit, which they would obtain from state liquor enforcement. And there's a limitation on the beer, but you could, anywhere in the state of Colorado, you could get a warehouse storage permit, and then it has to go from the warehouse to the premises. But I don't think you plan on doing that, do you, Michael? You're just going to store it on premises?
We're looking at storing some backstock potentially.
And
Can you come up to can I have you come up so that we get that?
Yeah, since we do video, the record is the audio here, so.
So we certainly can store everything on site. The previous facility had done that, but we do have refrigeration units at the country club that will be available even during the construction. So if it's possible to store backstock of food or liquor, that would certainly be more convenient. Otherwise, we could arrange for more deliveries. That would be the other option.
And maybe Mr. Scott, you could talk to us about having multiple licenses, and if that's possible, or you think that he needs to get a warehouse license for that other location?
you can only store alcohol on the licensed premises and not any other premises that's licensed unless you get a warehouse permit. And you obtain the warehouse permit from state liquor enforcement down in Lakewood on Pierce Street. And they give you the permit, and then you put one copy on the place where you're going to store it, so the burglar knows where to break in. And then file one with the licensing clerk and then post it on your premises. And there's a limitation, 10-day limitation on beer because it's shelf dated, even though some beer now has 2 years on their shelf date. And then it would have to be brought from that wholesale, that warehouse premises to the location to be dispensed on premises. We go over that in the training, by the way.
Great.
So, but that's not applicable because they'll store the extra liquor on their own premises, which is licensed by another city besides Littleton.
Yeah,
That's not what he just testified to. So
Yeah,
we
he's saying
just
that-
need to make it, you need to understand that you need to store it at the Littleton
Unless you have a
address,
warehouse.
unless you
Yeah,
go and
or
get
get a
one.
warehouse, yeah.
So sometimes, take Beaujolais, for instance. Beaujolais now out of season for you wine connoisseurs. So the wholesaler comes in and says, I'm going to sell it to you for $1 a bottle, but you got to take 600 cases. Well, you don't have that kind of storage, so he puts it someplace else after he gets the warehouse permit. Then he has that purchasing power.
That's the distributors that,
Pardon
the
me?
distributor does that then.
Yes, the distributor is making the deal, but he hadn't got a place to store it. So you do that with wine and distilled spirits, and you could do it with beer for 10 days. Because beer has a shelf date.
So just on notice that if you wanted to store it at the other facility, make sure that you get the appropriate warehouse permit.
So let's say that you need a case of whatever it is, you send an employee down there to get it, and then they bring it on the premises, and that's where it gets dispensed.
So we will make certain to have a warehouse permit if we do need
Just
off-site
call me, I'll tell
storage
you how
for
to
that.
do it.
Thank you. Great.
But on premises
I'll
until
give you the
then.
back number.
Obviously, we're concerned with this location and the security of the liquor at this location.
So my understanding is the liquor for this location can't come from the country club.
Unless they got a warehouse
Have a
license.
warehouse permit there,
at that
and the country
at the
club
location.
hasn't got a license.
Right.
Yeah.
But if there's some building at the country club that isn't licensed, that could be the warehouse storage.
Okay. You want to proceed with
May I
your,
introduce myself? My name's Max Scott. I own and operate Oedipus Incorporated. Happy New Year. Hope to see you more often this year. We were retained to do a survey on this application, and I'd like to speak for a minute about private licenses. I don't recall doing one here in Littleton. Do you have one? This all came about back in the 90s when we had clients such as Hyatt, Marriott. I can't remember if we did one for Hilton, but we did them for Vail and Associates, where they only wanted somebody who was staying there the night or had bought a membership. So you have to be a member to go in. It's essentially the same as a club license, like with the VFW. You have to be a member to come in, and then you can bring your guests if you would like. When we started doing these and communicating with state liquor enforcement, they recommended that, not that they're the licensing agency at the local level, but they recommended that the petition and the briefing actually state that. So if you have occasion to, for instance, look at page 6 of, nope, I think it's page 5. Page 5 of our report, and hopefully you have a coded color copy. You'll see down at the bottom, as it said on the petitions, application for a private members-only hotel and restaurant license, and then that was part of the briefing to include what a hotel restaurant license is. You had to be a member or a guest of a member, and then the generic, or the information that you've already heard in terms of menu, days and hours of operation, and so on and so forth. So we surveyed business parties and interest and residential parties and interest, and on page 5, the blue are the businesses that we surveyed, and the pink areas are the residences that we surveyed. And we got a good coverage in the neighborhood because a lot of the neighborhood doesn't have parties and interest with it. For instance, the Centennial Golf Course and Tennis Club, other than the manager there aren't, for instance, any residences. With that, a person can sign for or against. Oh, we require payment in advance. Thank you. And then on item number 1, page 2, I'm reporting to my client that we did what we contracted to do. Qualified contacts under item number 2, when we do a survey, we allow a person to sign for or against, and we encourage them to write in the reason that they'd like to communicate to the liquor authority. We have 38 businesses favoring, 0 against, 146 residences favoring, and 4 against. People are knowledgeable about the golf course and in turn what they wanted to do, at least. We had 3 no need on opposition signatures, 1 abhorrence of alcohol. That's a Supreme Court term, abhorrence of alcohol. So the only one that really counts are the 3 no needs, but if you don't agree with our analysis, in this survey category, it's 98% favoring the issuance of the license. And then if you subtract out the abhorrence of alcohol, the figure goes up slightly. Margin of errors, 1.7%, added in, subtracted out. Both of them are well over 50% and show a need and a desire for a new private hotel and restaurant license. And since there's not one in the defined neighborhood, my understanding of Colorado case law is that's prima facie cause to issue the license right there, because the test is, are there enough of them in the defined neighborhood? And there aren't any until you grant this, if that's what you do. So that's all I have on that. I was going to talk about the vendor training real quick, if you'd like.
Can I just ask real quick? So you said when you handed someone the petition to sign or not, it indicated private.
Yes.
I mean, I see here on your cover information,
It says on the petition format itself.
on the format, okay.
I could read it to you if you would like.
No, that's okay.
We've probably done 75, less than 100 of these, mostly up and down the Front Range, but also over in Vail. Vail has 5 or 6 of these, and then there's some other private licenses. Any other questions? My wife and I, are certified as a responsible vendor. So if you're familiar with that, you go to Part 9 of CRS 1247, where there's just a short little sentence, and then you go to the regulations, where it goes on ad nauseum, ad infinitum, and the rest of them Greek and Latin words. So we submitted our training materials, and we're certified both in English and Spanish to do the training. And we do, for every class of license, to include 3.2, the various on-premise licenses, off-premise, like retail liquor stores and so on and so forth. So the training is on-site. We recommend that everybody get trained, because the dishwasher and the busboy need to know what alcohol containers they can touch and they can't touch, or they might see somebody doing something and then report that to management to prevent a violation. There's a PowerPoint presentation at the end. Everybody has to take a test, and they got to get an 80. The state recommends 70. We require 80%. And then if everybody passes, they get a card. The licensee gets a letter on our letterhead that lists who took the training, which we turn into the local licensing clerk together with the certificate itself, just for the licensee. And we're going to schedule to do that as soon as I guess staff is ready to go. Questions?
Thank you. I have no questions for you.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else?
If we can have the licensee back up. Is the building that you are leasing, is this the same building as Ned Kelly's, or is it actually physically separated from Ned Kelly's?
It is separated by an alley. It is separated by an alley.
Okay. Is there a reason the submitted copy of the lease is written with draft all over it? Every page has draft, draft, draft.
So, yes, I apologize. They, rather than purchase that template, we had one of our members, a commercial real estate agent, went through the lease with the business owner and created that. It is an executed document, but he did use a draft copy rather than purchase the new template.
So it's the lease.
Saving $20. I don't know why I did that, but it's a little ridiculous, yeah.
As long as that doesn't cause any problems for them declaring that they have rights
No,
to
it's
the
fully
property.
executed, so.
Okay.
And I've already had a discussion with State Liquor about it.
Okay.
Any more questions?
I will make a motion. I'll move that the public hearing be closed. Oh, I'm sorry. I got in your, Mr. Chairman, should we ask if there's anyone else here who wants to testify?
I would entertain a motion at this time.
Is there-
Mr. Chairman, you need to open the public hearing just in case there's anyone else.
Oh. Public hearing is open. If anyone would like to speak, no one has signed up.
Okay.
Apparently, no one would like to speak. The public meeting is closed.
All right, I move that the public hearing be closed and the resolution of the Littleton Licensing Authority be approved, which grants Columbine Country Club, Inc., doing business as Columbine on Main, 2299 West Main Street, Littleton, Colorado, a hotel and restaurant liquor license for a members-only establishment contingent upon approval by the Colorado Liquor Enforcement Division and based upon the following findings of fact. 1, that notice of the hearing was properly posted and published. 2, that the applicant has possession of the premise and the premise are suitable for the requested license. 3, that the needs of the neighborhood are not now being met. 4, that it is the desire of the adult inhabitants of the neighborhood that the license be issued. 5, that existing similar liquor licenses in the designated neighborhood are not adequate. And 6, that the applicant and registered manager are of good moral character, record, and reputation.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion at this time? And I would call for a vote. City Clerk, would you poll the authority, please?
Authority Chair Bradish,
Yes.
Vice Chair Cole,
Yes.
Authority Member Lavier,
Yes.
Authority Member Buchanan,
Yes.
Authority Member Webb.
Yes.
Motion is carried. License is approved.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Welcome to Littleton.
I hope it works.
Love to have you all tour the regular clubhouse. You should all be members of Colomine Country Club.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
It's not a local license.
Thank you.
I see no other agenda items other than reports.
Just a couple of things. Just a reminder for those authority members who need to reapply, whose terms are up, if you're eligible to reapply, that'd be Authority Member Lavier, Authority Member Mather, and Vice Chair Cole. If you have not already done so, hopefully you will. The deadline is 5 p.m. on the 31st of this month. Yes, check your watch, you have plenty of time. The second thing I just wanted to let you know, beginning in April, our meeting time will move up by a half an hour to 6:30. We're bringing all the boards and commissions and authorities in line with the meeting time of City Council.
Okay.
Starting April, you said?
6:30.
Thank you.
And we also will have, or somebody will have an election at the March meeting.
Yes, Chairman Bradish's last meeting will be our March meeting. He is term limited on this board, and in April, our first, after we approve the agenda, our first item will be election of officers at the April meeting.
And the vice chair will conduct the meeting up until that point.
Correct.
Can you bring us up to speed on pending licenses? I saw Angelo's has moved into, or has posted a sign on South Santa Fe.
I don't have an application on that yet, but my understanding from speaking with one of the owners is they're looking at a July open date, so I would anticipate seeing an application on that shortly.
Okay. What are we hearing on the View House?
They are still working on some parking. They are talking about late summer to early fall 2016.
Okay. And the signs are down once again at the old Champs location. Are we seeing anything from Champs?
I believe whatever's going in there won't be associated with a liquor license, so I don't have any information on that right now.
Okay.
They finally noticed that parking could be a problem.
They've actually met their burden for parking with the city, but they're looking at additional parking.
Yeah.
My understanding was that they were about to demolish a couple storefronts on Rapp Street and put in a parking garage.
I have not heard that.
How about the King Soopers? They're continuing there now, the liquor store?
Which King Soopers?
Broadway and Littleton Boulevard?
Yes.
Won't they have to renew, though, before they open? Isn't that license, wasn't that issued last?
Are you talking about the View House? Not King
No,
Soopers?
King
No,
Soopers,
the liquor store.
that liquor store. right?
Probably May.
You're talking about Littleton Liquor Mart, the new license.
That's correct, yeah.
Yeah, they're still moving forward, and they may well have to renew before they open. We've had a couple of instances like that.
Which remind me, when that happens, obviously, there's no violations, and so unless
Correct.
something materially changed, it would be an administrative approval?
Correct.
Or of the chairman? Okay.
It's like the boardroom.
Right.
Anything else from the staff?
So I have hired an assistant county, or assistant city attorney. I don't think it helped to hire a county attorney. She's going to be part-time. Her name is Lena McClellan. She is a recent graduate of the University of Oregon Law School, and she will be starting on January 25th. So I will bring her to the February meeting, hoping to have her eventually represent and assist the board at or the authority at these meetings, but we're going to have her do quite a bit of training with Corey Hoffman before then, so,
I think that's good news.
yeah.
Anything from the authority members?
I will not be able to attend the February meeting. I'll be traveling for work.
Thank you.
Thank you for letting us know this soon. Chair has nothing. There being no further business, I will declare this meeting adjourned.